Ideally, we'd like the head and ears to be one continuous model, but building the ear with the vertical lines that made up the face is almost impossible. So we're going to make the ears separately and then blend it into the head. This will give us much better results. The easiest way to build an ear is to start with a closed curve at the base and then offset curves going up, over, and then into the ear. Just like when we drew the curves that made up the face, this step is hard to visualize, but important to get as close as possible. The first curve will be the one that's on the skin, about a half an inch away from the base of the ear. This is so that we can easily blend it into the head later. Now draw the curve that is right on the edge of the base. This one should be shaped more like the ear. And move it slightly away from the first one. If you can imagine the next one to be the highest point on the back of the ear. To make the thickness of the ridge, we'll copy the last one and modify it slightly. Next, it curls back on the top, so we'll copy this one back a little and modify it. We have to remember the order in which the curves go. We are now working down into the ear. Let's put that one right in the middle. And last is the canal. The next step is to attach all of the curves and use U-loft to get our surface. Again, the top view is probably the easiest to use. We're going up, over, now down into the ear. Grab the surface and flip the normals. I'm also going to cap the hole. And flip those normals also. Now that we can see it, it's easier to adjust the points to get a better starting surface. I'll level these out to remove the ridge on the bottom of the ear. the ridge is too thin, so I'll grab those points move them back, and use scale to bring them in. That's a good starting surface. But before we convert it to a surface CV and modify it further, now is a good time to blend it into the head while the curves are still affecting the surface of the ear. So I'll unhide the head. Once we have the right size and position, we'll attach them together and use the base curve of the ear as a vector projection to make a hole. We want to project from the right view and choose Trim. Select the surface and move the ear closer to the hole. Now modify the loft parameters. Where's the rollout? I'll try refreshing the selection. Here we go. This rollout would not appear if we had collapsed it to a surface CV. Select point curve 1 and replace it with the projected curve. Let's render what we have so far. Unfortunately, this seam is unavoidable. I tried to use blend from surface to surface, but it didn't work. We would have to hide it somehow, either with mapping or by converting it to a mesh and welding the vertices.